Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you are a returning subscriber or viewer. So, I'm a little nervous. I'm excited, but I'm nervous because this is going to be my first ever, official review that I've done of a video game. The journey thus far has been very interesting. Um, and when I say the journey, I'm talking about from the point of announcement when this game was announced, leading up to the official release. It's been a very interesting journey. I'm cautiously yet hopefully optimistic to see where it goes. But I'm just going to do my best to be as honest and as transparent as I can without being extremely biased. But I am going to go ahead and say off the bat, I did enjoy this game. It is in my rotating roster of games right now. So I'm just going to go on and lead off with that. However, that's not going to stop me from discussing my issues with the game and the negatives that I do see with the game or that I experienced. So, without further ado, sit back, enjoy. Yeah. So, as far as my initial thoughts on the game, I myself was allowed to participate in the alpha test that happened. I posted my thoughts, my reviews on that when the NDA got lifted. So if you haven't checked that out, go ahead and check that out right now. But if you were part of the alpha test, we got to play up to a certain point up until we were going to have our first civilian rescue mission. I believe it was in chapter 2 after the Batman experience. Correct me if I'm wrong. However, I enjoyed my time in the alpha. I really did. First and foremost, as I said, the UI thing, that is not really an issue for me. It doesn't overwhelm me. Have I messed with my own personal UI interface? I have. I've turned things down, I've turned things off, and I've really just tailored it to my personal gameplay experience, and it's really not a big deal. So I think, and I will, and I've said this in my NDA playtest review, I think that everything that was said and all the negativity that was brought to this game simply over the UI itself, completely ridiculous, completely unnecessary, completely childish. It, I, anyway, overall, the gameplay is fun. I enjoy the gameplay. I don't play too many looter shooters. My first initial, looter shooter that I've spent over 60 plus hours on. I don't play, I've had played games like Sunset Overdrive and Borderlands, but I didn't really spend time with those games like I am with Suicide Squad. So, with this being my first experience into a deep dive of a looter shooter superhero or supervillain game in the sense, I've enjoyed my experience so far. Now I will say there have been, various things that I've ran into, but I spent most of my gameplay playing as Harley Quinn throughout my entire playthrough, unless I wanted to just sort of quickly level up a character or get some additional gear or XP for that character for a specific mission where they were psyched up. I spent most of my time playing as Harley Quinn, as I knew going into this game that I was going to be a Harley Quinn main. In my own personal opinion, I feel like the gameplay is fun. It's fluid. You're able to, string together your traversal with your melee combos and then get back up in the air, at least from my experience with Harley, and then continue to just shoot around and just it's really fun to me. For me, it feels like it offers a lot more variety than just pressing square repeatedly. And no, that is not an attack on any of the Arkham games, and what I love the Arkham games. I really enjoyed Avengers for what it had to offer. It was very lackluster in some areas, in many areas, but I enjoyed it for what it had to offer. And the combat of Avengers was one of its strong selling points. However, I just enjoyed the learning curve to this combat a little bit more. Granted, with the melee, you're only pressing R2, waiting for a cooldown, pressing it again, blah, blah, blah. That's fine. But when you're tying all that together with shooting, once you get Harley's traversal down right, on top of dodging and sliding around and wall running, it becomes really, really fun, and it leaves you with a lot of room to customize your own playstyle depending on the character that you are playing as, and I really enjoyed that. Harley Quinn's traversal was a learning curve for me, and I remember asking one of the developers in the Q&A sessions after the alpha stress test, is there any way that Harley Quinn is going to feel a little bit, she feels a little clunky or a little heavy right now? I don't know. She just felt weird to me during the alpha stress test. However, once I really got my hands on the entire game and I was able to really spend time playing with Harley Quinn and learning when to time my traversal and when to swing and when to, grapple up to a let, it got really fluid. And Harley is, in fact, the fastest character in terms of traversal when it comes to this game. And that is one of the biggest reasons as to why I stuck to playing with her, especially because there's not any fast travel in this game. You can fast travel to the Hall of Justice, but that's it. That's all you get. And so in terms of traversal, Harley just really seals the deal for me. She is fluid, she's fast, she's quick on her feet, and she hits hard when she needs to, but she can also quickly get out of a situation. And I like to do that. So I enjoy the gameplay. I think it's fun. I think Deadshot is fun. Second to Harley, I'm playing as, honestly, Captain Boomerang. I didn't think I'd be playing as him as often as I was, but after I've beaten the main story, I am switching and finding myself playing as Captain Boomerang a little bit more. Third in line is Deadshot. And then fourth is King Shark, just because I've never really been a huge tank type of person in games like these. Unless I'm playing Overwatch 2 and I'm playing as Diva. But regardless of that, yeah, I didn't really spend too much time with King Shark. I just and I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on that. I feel like if he works for you, he works for you. If he doesn't, he doesn't, and that's just that. When season 1 releases in March, and we finally get Joker as an added playable character, I'll probably be swapping out my King Shark for Joker. Let's talk about the story. Let's talk about the story. If you have not played the story, consider this your warning. We will be talking about spoilers from this point on, so I will give you 3, 2, 1. All right, so moving into the story, why? If you are chronically online and you are spending your time spewing hate and fueling disgusting remarks and derogatory comments and spiteful hate and sending death threats to developers in this game, you need to go to therapy. This game is called Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. I'm not sure as to why everyone is acting as if this game has marketed itself as anything other than what we actually did in the game, which was kill the Justice League. I don't know what to tell you. I think narratively speaking, it worked for what they were going for in terms of a live service game. That's the only thing that sort of kept me open-minded and understanding of certain decisions and story beats that happened. Because if you were really, really paying attention to the story and the dialogue and what took place and what happened after each boss battle of killing the Justice League, then you would recognize that this is obviously not the end of their story. I don't know where they're going to go or how that's going to work, but it seems as if people have suddenly forgot that, in my mind at least, because let's just be honest, especially with the Marvel Cinematic Universe right now, they're kind of a little all over the place with the multiverse saga. But in my mind, DC is the pillar or the pinnacle when it comes to all things multiverse, because they've been doing it for such a long time and they know what they can and can't do. In dealing with that and going into this game with that open mind, I took the story for what it was and I just moved on, because even towards the ending, and let me tell you, my least favorite fight, boss battle right off the rip, Brainiac. I'm sorry, that was my least favorite boss battle, but I feel as if I know why it was set up like that. Does it give them an excuse to only make him a Flash reskin for that main campaign story? No, it doesn't. I get it. It would have been much more cooler, in my opinion, if we had different stages in that last battle where he maybe used each of the Justice League's abilities. But he really only used Flashes, and that was just pretty much that. I get it. That is completely valid. However, I have to remind myself that this is a live service game and the story is still not over. We're still dealing with Brainiac. We're still dealing with so many other Brainiacs, and we don't even know if that Brainiac was the Brainiac, if that makes sense. Because I feel like, and knowing who Brainiac is and how he travels across, and like taking worlds and collecting worlds, so much so much can be done with this in terms of a live service element. So I feel like the unnecessary hate that the story is getting towards those certain story beats, especially when Harley Quinn kills Batman, and you guys want to talk about disrespecting Kevin Conroy's legacy and what he stood for. I don't think it's right to use his passing as an excuse to do the things that you guys are doing online. And I'm not gonna dive into it. I'm not gonna sit here and let let people make me think that I'm being crazy, because we've all seen, and we've all seen what they perpetuated online and using Kevin Conroy's death, and it's been absolutely disgusting and distasteful, and I completely abhor it. I do not agree with it whatsoever, at all. But what y'all do not realize is, even, and let me point this video here, Arkham Videos. Let go there first and foremost. Go there. There were so many open-ended loopholes in each of those boss battles that I really don't think many people paid attention to. And I'm not this is not the video that I'm going to go through every single little minute detail that I notice or that I recognize, but I personally, I don't think this is the end of the Justice League story. I really don't. I get it was a bit jarring because, oh my goodness, we're jumping right into it. We're killing. She just shot Batman in the head, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm glad that they went through with it. Even if they're gonna come back later on and redeem themselves and bring back the Justice League and figure out a way to wrap that story up, fine. I'm okay with that. I'm okay if, honestly, they stay dead and we pull a Justice League from different universes and bring them to this main Arkhamverse. I'm okay with that. But you can't go around making assumptions and spewing all of this disgusting toxicity and behavior and comment based on a story that you really don't even know the ending to yet. Like, we haven't even gotten season one of this evolving Brainiac storyline and what's happening. So why not just sit back and see what's going to happen and reserve your judgment? If you don't like the game because of the elements of the game, as far as the gameplay, just the premise of the story in general, that's fine. You have every right to not like a game. I'm not saying that anybody has to like this game. That's wonderful. But don't keep beating a dead horse. Why are you here? What's the point? So I took the story for what it was. I took the story for what it was. I had fun. I The boss battles, they could have been better. Honestly, I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for this. The initial Batman experience in the very beginning when you were in the museum was a lot more thrilling and exciting to me than his actual boss battle. While I had fun going around the Batcave and being split up like we were in the Batman Experience Museum, and I love that he used the voice synthesizer that we created in Arkham Knight. It was just a very nice callback of him commanding goons around like we used to do in Arkham Knight. It was just a very nostalgic feeling. And I loved that sort of creeping around and feeling anxious about what's going to pop out, when he's going to pop out. But when it got to the actual boss fight of dealing with Nightmare Batman, I was underwhelmed. It was really just, and I was playing as Harley most of the time, so it was really me staying in the air, swinging around, sliding around, shooting him up, and that was pretty much it. I would have loved if they would have taken the same approach that they took in Arkham Asylum with Scarecrow's boss fight, or something similar where you're sort of hiding from the gaze of Nightmare Bat and things of that. Just that extra immersion. That's just what I would have preferred. The Flash boss battle was pretty decent. He kind of just fell out at the end. They all just kind of fall out at the end, which, okay, whatever, I guess. But in terms of like keeping me invested, like, oh, this is so thrilling, this is fun, I would definitely have to say my number one boss battle that I really, really enjoyed, Green Lanterns. I'm sorry, I enjoyed Green Lanterns boss battle. Then I think it for me it would go to Green Lantern, The Flash, Batman, Superman. Actually, I'll even do Superman before Batman. Batman was my least favorite boss battle next to Brainiac. Brainiac being the absolute last. That's the boss battle I just like the least. I really don't like Brainiac's boss battle that much. Behind that, definitely Batman, and then Superman, The Flash, Green Lantern. That's just how I feel about it. I feel as if regarding the characters, wonderful characters, beautiful dialogue. I think the actual graphics and I think the character models, everyone looks so good. Harley is so expressive, and I'm not gonna lie, Diana's death kind of shook me. But if you know your Wonder Woman lore, it's a possibility that she could return. If you know your Wonder Woman lore, you know that there's a possibility that she could return. So that's why I'm not really holding on to anything and like holding on any sort of like final judgments because I know the story isn't over. I don't know if this game will survive as long as I'm hoping that it will survive, but I know that at the very least, they are going to wrap up this Brainiac storyline because it was just way too open ended to end like it did. And I think majority of you all can agree with that. I just don't agree with the hate that the game is getting because of that. It just seems like everyone has these blinders on and they automatically heard, "Oh my goodness, this is in the Arkhamverse. This is our Arkham Batman. Harley just shot him in the head. This game." You know what I'm saying? That's just really what I feel like this is. Have we forgotten the teases and clues that how many like the abundance of them that Rocksteady has left in Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, Arkham Knight, really leading up to future events in the Arkhamverse? This is still in the Arkhamverse. They're doing this is the same form. They're doing the same thing. I get it. The story definitely felt open ended. It felt a little jarring, but I didn't take it for anything other than what it was, and I had fun with it. I had fun playing online with a friend. I ran into a few bugs here and there with a character model not popping up during a cutscene when I was playing online, but other than that, I really haven't had any other issues with any bugs. Mission variety, while it is pretty much the same, like you're doing the same missions over and over, I didn't really have an issue with that in Avengers until I really started feeling confined to the same regions over and over. And I get it, you're just in one big metropolis, but at least with this one, it's a bit more of an. I just love the traversal aspect. I love the traversal aspect. I love getting into combat with Harley. I love just feeling like I am wreaking havoc as Harley Quinn. And that's what keeps me coming back to this game despite the missions being so repetitive. I would love to see varying enemy types. Just kind of feels like we're fighting the same enemies all the time. So hopefully as future seasons evolve, we get introduced to more different types of enemies. The game feels good. The only thing that I will say, I stayed off of the streets a lot as well because once you really hit that ground level, it's pretty bleak. It's bland to me. There's not much happening. As soon as you see aliens on a ground level, they're jumping up to rooftops and so are you. So there's no point in really being on the ground. What I would have really loved to have seen, or like the political prisoner vibe in Arkham City. I get it. Brainiac is a massive force, and yes, it is an alien invasion. But I don't believe that there wouldn't be stragglers around somewhere, hiding, camping out underground somewhere, various shops boarding up, trying to just survive. You know what I'm saying? And I get it, we have those rescue missions, but just bring a little bit more liveliness to the streets in a sense. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. The looter shooter aspect, I feel like I don't have much I feel like I don't really have a place to speak on this just because there are other diehard looter shooter fans out there that are probably a bit more valid in terms of opinions when it comes to all of the gear and things of that nature. But regardless of that, it doesn't justify the disgusting hate and the death threats. So with that being said, with the gear aspect, I'm still any gear aspect in a game, especially a game like this one, it's a bit overwhelming. It's a bit much at time, but I feel like I'm just now getting to a spot where I'm able to sort of figure it out, and that's where I am right now in that process. Um, Overall, I enjoyed the game. The characters had great chemistry, in my opinion. It felt like it felt like a Suicide Squad game. It is what it is. It felt like a Suicide Squad game. Overall, my score out of 10, I would have to give this game I would have to give this game a 7 out of 10. Just for me personally, I enjoyed it. There were some moments and I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. But it's a live service game and the story's not over. So I also reminded myself to take it at surface level and enjoy it for what it is. And the game is Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, and that's exactly what I did. And I had a damn great time doing it. Sorry. With that being said, I hope you guys have enjoyed this in-depth review of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. This is definitely a game that I'm literally gonna finish editing this video and I'm gonna play it. So it's definitely a game that I'm gonna continue to revisit. I will continue to revisit as new content launches and as it gets posted with each new season. I hope that this game can really prove a lot of people wrong and last past what people are thinking that it's going to last. But if not, I had fun regardless, and I think that we're all just really just forgetting to have fun and to enjoy video games. Anyway, with that being said, this has been my review of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Tap that bell to be notified every single time I post content, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!